Mongols didn't just beat them, they slapped them. Slapped them.
I mean, Cello and Skulls were these like kind of up and coming stars in the making. But
how young are they now?
Every time I see them, it just feels like they're not at the level they should be. It's like really annoying. You don't get rest when you're playing a player like that if you're an anchor.
I'm worried about Eternal Fire because more events they attend, I think this team can do very well, but it's getting worse, you know? It's all about Counter-Strike episode 5 with Devilwalk and myself. We're ready to rock and roll once again, and I am, as always, in another setup. We're not at home. Devilwalk still in his very comfy old school chair. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Been waiting a while to kick this episode off today. We kind of...
Why are you throwing me under the bus already?
Yeah, I will. I've been on standby since 17. I've been like leaving my mates like, no, we cannot play. I have work. I have some stuff to do, and now we are here 4 hours later, approximately.
Yes. So we were supposed to film at 5, just as I always do this. It is the 17th of March, 2025, and it is now 21:32. We were supposed to start at 5, but I'm in a hotel in Denmark getting ready for BLAST Open Lisbon, and I had to get my microphone set up. I have a new camera. I'm trying to go like professional for doing this on the road. It's not easy. I don't know how like Sponge and these guys do it when they're traveling with everything all the time. They've obviously mastered the setup, but the internet's good, so that's the positive we have here. I've actually had, to be fair, we've both had a pretty chill time because I've had 3 weeks off since we did Cluj Poker. I was back on gym. I was going boxing again. I was getting my hands all like warmed up and ready. I played tons of Counter-Strike, streamed a lot. We played Marvel Rivals. I feel like super pumped and super energetic for the whole couple of events ahead of me that I'm going to work.
I mean, it's finally getting spicy now because as we'll talk about in the show, but there's some crazy stuff that could be happening in the next couple of tournaments that could determine, maybe an outcome for a major.
There's some repercussions. I think that's the way to look at it. But we'll start looking at ESL Pro League because I know me and you said we were going to co-stream it. We co-streamed one day in the end because
it was probably the most boring day.
And we did the games and we were like, this is awful. Like some of this was just terrible. And it's not so much like it's the studio environment's one thing. You can get away with that, right? But the fact that then it doesn't lead to the playoffs of like being in an arena and being that hype, even like the celebration for Vitality at the end is like, cool, it's great, it's fun. Thank God all the talent keep it like entertaining and chill like that. But obviously they've announced that EPL is going to change. So it's going to be the first 2 stages will be online, then playoffs will actually go to have a crowd and be proper. I don't agree with that, by the way, mate. I don't think they should be doing online at all. Like, it should just be studio to arena. But obviously, money's involved, budgets are involved, things have to change. So, it's kind of hard in that sense, I guess.
Yeah, but I think as well, when we were watching the games, what kind of made it a little bit more boring was, we would watch a game and it had like a 13-4 map, and then it's a 13-5 map to the other team. And then, it's a stomp at the end as well. And nothing during the game was telling us that some other team will win. There was no suspense in the games that we unfortunately were looking at. And no real like highlight situations. I think we had one sick Deagle highlight there on Inferno that when we watched.
That was the G one, right, from Tai Lu. Yeah. I will say,
but
I called the wrong Chinese team. I said, like, I think Lin Vision can do well. Tai Lu made it through to stage 2, but Tai Lu, like, this is another thing I know we were talking about.
My random feeling.
The random feeling that a Chinese team would do well. Best of 3s being in this Swiss format is incredible. I'll say it again. I'm going to say it a million times until it happens. It should be what we need for the majors because Tai Lu went up 2-0 legitimately, right? Even beating Eternal Fire in that, beating 3D Max. That's like big teams for them to take down. Then 3D Max and Eternal Fire qualify before them. They go to 2-2 and then they qualify in the last game. That's story. That's magic. That's entertainment. I don't think, other than Tai Lu, there wasn't any surprises of the teams that made it through to stage 2. I think the only disappointment was probably Heroic still, because I had them so much higher than this. I thought that could be a team that should go 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, in general, Tai Lu did a huge surprise, and they were just. I think they impressed me with how they played Counter Strike as well. They had
Mhm.
versatility, but I felt like they kind of got a little bit figured out after a while, with how they approached things. But other than that, I think I saw did reasonably well. I have to
Bro, they
check
went 3-0.
this.
They went 3-0.
Yeah,
Saw went
so that
3-0
was
with
a
their new
big
players.
big surprise to me because
I
obviously,
wrote them off. I
yeah,
think
I
I wrote
do.
them off saying they won't make it through to the next stage, because they had the honeymoon of Cluj-Napoca where like they kick 2 players, then they make playoffs, and then they just lose in the playoff game, but like crazy that they even made playoffs. Then they had these new players in, and I think there's no way anything's going to happen. And okay, the teams are weaker in the first stage of EPL,
Yeah,
but to go 3-0, like that was hella impressive.
no, it was, and the new guys were really impressive. I had not heard much about them. I think I'd never even seen the British guy play before. Um, But I'm trying to find here the stage 2 results here so that I don't talk out of my
So,
ass, because there's
so
so many games in this stage 2 and 1. Like the
yeah,
Swiss stages, there's 2 games going on at the same time at like 4 different time slots, I think, during the
yeah,
day.
four games per
And they're all
stream, and
best
there's
of
2
3.
streams.
There's like
Yep.
literally no way you can even watch all games, even if there's like a break day. If you have stuff to do in your life, like cook or clean or whatever, it's almost impossible to watch all of it.
I had the games on at the gym, at the dinner table, and even at one point, I just turned around to my wife and I'm like, yeah, like, I understand that she's pissed off, because I was saying some of the games just weren't interesting. It wasn't the most exciting.
Yeah.
Viewership was quite low for EPL, by the way. People were talking about that. But that doesn't surprise me, because you come off like the hype of Katowice, Cluj-Napoca, arena events and the crowd and stuff coming into it. And then you come into a lot of lesser, more unknown teams who certainly want to fight for their points, get their VRS points, and fight for their spots. EPL is a big deal for them, but it doesn't fill you with like, yeah, great, I want to go and watch all this.
Yeah, I mean, if you just make a quick, I don't know, calculation, you have 16 teams, they all play like, at least 3 best of 3s each.
Yep.
And some of them play another 4 and 5 best of 3s. That's so much to cover, and I think stage 1 kind of drags on a little bit with Swiss system. I think the
Ju-
the the viewer
just because of
experience
the
was probably
teams.
better when the best of ones were initial ones,
Oh,
because then you're either knocked out or you're through very very quickly and fast paced into the Swiss system. And now I feel like the first couple of games as a viewer
hmm
feels a little lackluster in terms of like the suspense and like you know what I mean. Like there's no risk involved in it in the same
yeah, because
way. While
obviously
you could
it's
have
more
kicked off
set.
the yeah, you could have kicked off the best of ones, be finished with them straight into this like you win or you're out kind of suspense into it. And I feel like with the best of 3 it drags on a little bit too much maybe as a viewer. I think it's
Yeah, for the
as
casual.
a
That's what I was about
player
to
or a
say.
coach, I would be like, yes, hell yes, yes, this is what we want.
Yeah, but even as someone who's like us, right, who's hardcore watching it, we've just said this. Like, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I think this is the best format for the highest quality of Counter Strike. That doesn't mean like quality of the teams facing each other, but I mean the teams that will qualify and how it progresses.
Yeah.
There's no randomness of the best of ones. But then I agree with you. For like the people who are working a 9 to 5 job, they're coming home and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's this great team versus some terrible team again in the best of 3. We'll wait and see how this goes down." There was a few moments of just air, but then there's the really positive moments of how, if you go and look down group play of the Swiss system for stage 2, yeah, if you have a look down this, it wasn't like all the favorites won, but it's like you saw how this comes out to work for the best quality of CS coming through.
Yeah.
Vitality Spirit going 3-0. Navi 3-1. Mongols 3-1. Mao's 3-1. Eternal Fire 3-2. We've seen them struggle. They even struggled in the first stage, right? They lost to Tyloo. G2 still not looking as confident. Liquid, they may have lost the Falcons, but they fought their way through. Falcons didn't end up qualifying, but then Liquid did. Game Allegiant had a chance in there. 3D Max had a chance in there. Furia still being disappointing.
Yeah.
The Pain one, by the way, actually forced a change. Cowers is going from the lineup. It's like it
Yeah.
was rumored, and then he actually spoke about it on Twitter, so that came through. And you really were liking Pain, but I think they seem to be like they
They
added
kind of lost
Gavadeus.
their
It was
mojo, I
great,
feel like.
yeah, and then their own hype died from event to event.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if they started changing some stuff. Because I mean, I have this experience in teams where I remember at least in Fnatic when we won the major, and
Mhm.
then we wanted to progressively get better, so we started to change a lot of stuff that aren't necessarily bad, but changing those things meant that we were not using the same philosophy that got us there, right? It wasn't
Yeah,
improving that philosophy, it was changing it. And it turned us into a much worse team when we weren't approaching the game in the same way that we originally, kind of brought us there. So that thing, it's tough. You can't just do that. It doesn't take 2 3 weeks. Everything changes. So if you do that kind of stuff, there's usually lineups involved, changes involved. You kind of break down, the blame game starts because some people doesn't pick up the new line of thinking as fast. So I think it's one of those growing pains as a professional player you have to go through. I think everyone does. So hopefully, they can come back stronger from it. But hopefully they can also go back a little bit more towards what they were.
yeah, and it'll take some time, obviously, when you do make a change anyway. But I'm still going to keep
Yeah.
an eye on Pain. I still think they're a more exciting team than Furia, and I have more faith in Pain doing well than Furia for the South American teams that are out there right now. They're definitely the ones with the most potential, especially with how MIBR have kind of now dropped off as they lose drop. No pun intended there, but obviously they made further changes for them as well. So it's kind of interesting the South American side, I think, or the Americas
Yeah.
region in general, because it's just kind of Liquid on top and some of the others fighting for the spot. And Furia may be a household name, but going 1-3 like they did, like let me just see their results. Remember who was the one team they beat? So they beat MIBR, they lost to Falcons, they lost to Liquid, they lost to Mouse. And I don't care that you took a map. It's like some of their games, I just questioned the decision making, you know? It's
Yeah.
like you can never get all of Furia on the same page at the same time to do the right thing. And yet I look at the quality of players and people can talk about, yes, how long Fallen's been doing it, but it's like Case of Otto and Yuri, I still got so much confidence in, so much belief in. But I'm starting to think that like maybe that ship has sailed when there's so much of this young South American talented players coming up that we're seeing just not going to Furia, going to other teams.
I mean, Cello and Skulls were these like kind of up and coming stars in the making. But
But how young are they now?
every time I see them, it just feels like they're not at the level they should be.
Cello's 26, by the way, just to be clear. Cello's 26 is young up and coming star.
Yeah, but
Skulls is the
Skulls is
youngest one at
22.
22. Yeah, so Skulls I can give you, but it's like it's already been more than enough years, and it's
Yeah, but
been
personally, I probably don't think Cello is good enough for tier one Counter Strike. Or like that's harsh, but
he has moments, but
he
it's
does have
like
moments. He's very inconsistent, and I feel
yep,
like on Furia's side, they should be a better team when I look at the paper. Like I look at the
yeah,
players on paper. I feel like every time I watch them, they're a bit lackluster, and I feel kind of a little bit sad for Keiserato, who's been like consistently probably the best Brazilian player for I don't know how long now, but
and he had
and
chances to go elsewhere, and he didn't.
yeah, and he's been in that like top 5 to top 15 spacing the entire time.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I honestly I don't really know. I mean, if you would make like a super team For Brazil, would Queserato would 100%
Oh,
be in it.
small crash, but we deal with these tech problems. It's always my fault anyway, so I'll just take the L on
Well,
this one.
apparently,
But
apparently me.
apparently you this time. We never know what's going on, but we keep moving forward. We were talking about Fury. We were talking about the Americas region, especially when it comes to these South American players and the Brazilians. So when we're on that topic, Devilwalk, let's just do a quick away from ESL Pro League dream team of Brazilians of who you would have there. For me, Biggie Zera leading. Queserato, I agree with you. He's a must in there. Then I'd want to have Insani in there from MIBR. Then I'll take Snow because he's the little young hype man. I'm not thinking about roles or anything right now too much. I would probably choose NQZ as the AWPer, but just because I'm not sure if there's some like better up and coming AWPer from Brazil. Like there's Fallen, but he's IGL AWPer. There's NQZ, who's inconsistent at times. Then you have Safe or Safe, however you want to call
Yeah.
him. And he's also a bit inconsistent. I'd put NQZ a bit above him. So that's where I'd go with it. Coaching, who would I have as a coach? I don't know, man. Maybe you just take Sid from Furia now. He's still young and he's been hyped up. See if he can work with these pieces.
I think that's a more difficult choice to make at the moment, the coach one. But I'll probably follow you with Queserato, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably, honestly, probably bring in Jury as well.
Oh, you still want Yuri?
Uh,
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
take Insani, Fallen, and Snow.
Oh, so you wouldn't have Big Yazera?
No, I think there's a
Damn.
case for him, but in that
Okay.
case, I wouldn't maybe put Fallen in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the choice you have to make.
Yeah, but yeah, I made a Fallen lineup.
I
Still a
just
big
feel like
fanboy.
we have these great players from Brazil, and we just can't get the one great team that can be a regular playoff team or a title contender. And I'm
The
sure that's what
weird
the
part
Brazilian
is
community
they're
want as
all in the
well.
same ranking. Like they're hugging each other in the
Yeah,
rankings.
yeah, they're so close.
Like world ranking, Furia 15, Pain 16, MIBR 18.
Oh my
On
god,
Valve
yeah.
ranking, okay, this is HLTV, but Valve Pain is 14, Furia
Hmm.
17, MIBR 18.
Oh, cool. So we were right about Payne being the best anyway. I didn't even look at the rankings before, so that made sense at least.
Might change now.
For, for the rest of EPL, right? We spoke about how it was kind of boring in the opening stage, the second stage not too bad. Some more exciting games. I actually think the Liquid Falcons game was a banger that Falcons managed to win, but then poor Falcons didn't make it to playoffs. That probably hurt them. That's probably disappointing considering they were in the grand final of Cluj, and obviously that was supposed to be the step up for them. So then at EPL, not be able to do it is a bit of a problem for them. I think. I think it's still going to take some time. If we look at who they lost to, they lost to Mouse. They lost to Mouse at Cluj as well. They lost to 3D Max. That's the one that's going to sting. And Eternal Fire, this time they couldn't beat when they did beat him on the stage. We already spoke about the problems that Eternal Fire can have on stage. Then we
Yeah.
get to playoffs, though, right? And playoffs, honestly, I don't think there was any bad games because even the 2-0s were kind of exciting. Like Vitality Liquid were just exciting because Apex screaming and shouting. Liquid, I think, disappointed in that one, but I didn't predict them to get a map. Um, the
But to be
crazy
fair, like
one,
Vitality was just so strong throughout the entire playoff. It's
yeah.
honestly ridiculous how good they are right now.
We'll focus in on Vitality afterwards. We
Yeah.
have to touch on Mongols Navi. This pains me, man, because Mongols didn't just beat them; they slapped
Destroy
them,
them.
slapped them like it was winning the duels. It was being sharper. It was like even with Bit's best efforts and an attempt of a fight, I think it was on Mirage, there was still it was lackluster from Navi. And Navi, by the way, they need to be racking up points right now. They're not even going to make it to the third stage of the major straight away in their current VRS points of where they sit. You know, they're in a bad spot because they skipped PGL.
But it's also like a little bit concerning. I mean, how they got slapped because Navi obviously they go 4-0 up on Mirage
Yep.
and they lose 13-6. And that's included another pistol win on the CT side.
Yep.
So they basically they converted pistol Probably got to. I don't know if I don't remember if the Mongols forced buy it or if they saved. But let's take the worst scenario. They converted to free,
It doesn't get worse than
free
this.
zero, and then a fourth
Yep.
round. They had basically 4 rounds. They failed to convert on the second pistol round, and that probably broke them a little bit because I mean
Yeah.
Mongols just dominated them in weapon rounds. I'm gonna see here. Oh, it was probably the worst start on the ancient map as well, with winning pistol and not converting it.
And
So is there like a mentality kind of breakdown? I mean, we've had discussions from this like clip right from Navi, where I
oh,
am
the
and
Alexi clip,
Alexi.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't take too much into consideration that like that because
Yeah, but
you know
you know
like
what these talks are like, right? You know what
yeah,
happens in these
I
comms.
agree with Blade was like it shows that people care.
Hmm.
But it's also to the degree, you know, like it has to stop at some point, and
Yeah,
um, it's just a annoyance in general. I think you know, I understand Alexi B completely in that role because he's making a call, and you know, it seems like complaining to me. I know also there's a lot of emotions. There's you know very tense moments in the same.
frustration.
Yeah. Uh, And as an in-game leader, you don't want comments. I've always had rules, and I'm sure they have the same rule in Navi, where it's just like don't comment on the previous round, just focus on the
Hmm.
next.
Yeah.
Uh, but size is probably the last thing you want to hear in a mic, no matter what the result is.
And do you know what the crazy thing here is? Like, obviously, I'm close to the Navi boys, and I would say the biggest strength for this team, where we don't look at them having like a natural star player, is that when they were playing into the Blade system, when they follow the system and they all play together and they're doing what is set out within his system, you know,
Yeah.
that's when things click and when things go together. When you get this difference in opinions or you get a different way they want to go with things, then I guess that's where maybe they sometimes play out of the system and then it starts to go wrong and then it spirals and they don't know what to do to get out of it. And you know, Blade will try and call a timeout and find his success into it, but it's hard when you're also just like you can't even say they would have been able to maybe turn that around if they did play right because the individuals weren't hitting as well. Like you were getting out aimed, you were losing the jewels.
Yeah, and I mean they play this style as well, kind of almost a little bit mixy, explosive style of of Mongols, where they kind of just wait, and then they just start to poke everywhere and
Mm,
explode into a split. And it can be really annoying, especially when you have someone like Mazinho on the side of Mongols, who just consistently opens up sides and makes it awkward. You can never, doesn't matter if you're playing defensive, he's still killing you behind like ticket or you know uh, under balcony, or it doesn't matter. And he's willing to take these risks, which just means in the defense, you're getting annoyed at your jungle or con player for not you know properly protecting you or helping you out because you're constantly getting picked. But at the same time, if you
yeah.
draw them back, mid is clear, and all of a sudden those A split comes in, and then you know you're screwed either way. So I think Mousinho brings that kind of really big annoyance for teams because A is just so hard to play A anchor on
I'm
Mirage. It's
glad
probably
you
one of
mentioned
the
him
yeah, because it's one of
because
those things, you know. It's the hardest site I think in Pro CS to play is A anchor on Mirage.
okay.
It's one of the hardest. I because you can get poked from everywhere,
Yeah.
and you know
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah, yeah.
your comp player will just fall back into jungle, so it just eliminates some positions you can stand as well. And
And
either
then
you
you're
go
kind
for
of
that,
pinned in one
either
corner.
just sitting back CT, but once they get up, you can't do any harm because you just have to survive behind ticket, or you
Yeah.
play that more gambly style where you just post it in like all in positions like sandwich or default. And when you do that, you kind of need your teammates kind of flood in to help you when the execute comes. And if you die too fast, especially against a mouse in you, you're just screwed. You don't have the time to get that kind of flooding in scenario to happen. So I think
Do you know what
he does make it really annoying for them.
the great thing about Mazinho as well is that like he said on the interview, he was like, "Oh, I had Bit's crosshair for this game," and obviously both Bit and him are like what I call the headshot machines right now. But Mazinho has been so consistently good. Like he's trying to take that crown. He's trying to be really up there. I was a little bit sad though because he's become such a good character that like after the Vitality loss, he put something on his Instagram story basically saying like, I wish I screenshot it, but it was like, my performance these last few months hasn't been good enough. And I'm like, dude, don't be that harsh on yourself, man. Like, you still took a map of Vitality in the semis. You still played pretty damn good. I think that the
You,
Mongols is such a lovable team and the
yeah,
potential's there. It's just sometimes when they make some mistakes, you go, is this just a day where they're not following the plan or they've just got the wrong read on things?
yeah. But I'd say one thing. I just want to make a reference to Monsinho. You know what
Hmm.
player he kind of reminds me of? This might be a weird one,
Okay.
but he reminds me of Swag.
Swag.
You know
The
why?
NA
Because he
guy.
was, yeah,
Ah.
because he was
Okay,
this like
you
very
jog my memory.
entry like driven lurk player, like
Hmm.
not like this typical like kind of lurk we see in today's Counter Strike, which is more like followed by like get right and rops and this kind of style where it's slow based. They're really
Yeah.
good at holding the map control. Don't take that many risks. He's like the complete opposite. He's like, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to try to find ways to, kill you. Not hold space. It's not about that. It's like this kind of one on one. I'm gonna one on one you on the site, and I'm gonna win 70% of the time, and we're gonna get the round. It's like really annoying. You don't get rest when you're playing a player like that if you're an anchor.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a old school comparison for those that remember.
Yeah. That's there are a lot of audience here. They're gonna be like, "What?" And it's like we do talk about swag a bit in the past, but yeah, okay. I'm following you. I'm following you with it. Um, looking at some of the other couple of playoff games, the last two here in the quarters, Mao's G2. Jesus Christ! That did you watch the G2 game on Inferno? It was so many like 20-second rounds. They call it like the classic G2 rounds, right? Where they almost fumble. There was so
Yeah.
many messy, like we're trying to give them a chance to win it. They ended up winning Inferno 13-11, but they could have quite easily lost that whole series 2-0, and Mao's just dominated them because that Inferno was bad and confusing. Monasi was the only bright spark of the whole series, and I'm still thinking like I'll give Malbs time. I know how good that kid can be. We saw that. But it's like this loss of Nico is hurting them more and more with time. And yes, they made playoffs, but this is G2 we're talking about. While you've got Monasi in his, I guess, not prime, but like in great
We don't
form,
know what his
you
prime
can't
is
use him.
yet, if
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense.
We're still finding it out. So like this wasn't embarrassing for G2, and there maybe was a chance they could have taken it on an ancient, but I did have like I felt okay, this is where Mal's looked like they were in control no matter what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, they had even on Inferno, they had 11-7 lead, as you mentioned, that they kind of clutched it out to win the map. But I've been impressed by Mouse. I mean, they reach another final. Their calling seems great. It seems like they have the individual firepower to kind of clutch in rounds, but it's not like anyone is that star player in the team. Does that make sense? Like I think everyone
Yeah,
is on like a similar capable level, no matter what situation they end up in. So I think that's like it's their strength to a degree that they are so close to each other in skill. Um, but I do think the Spinks, kind of coming in has definitely helped them like kind of get a lot more multi-flag frag rounds in on the defense. But their T side is not looking bad at all. So you have to give Brolan credit where credit is due. I think he's doing a lot better than I expected. So
I'm still gonna sit on what I said last time though when we were talking
yeah,
about Cluj is that with Brolam right now, it's great. I'm seeing he can still individually play well and cool, and he should be proud of what he's doing. Cyclone probably deserves a lot of credit in like getting him ready for this at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting to see this in 3-4 months' time where they're not using some of the old stuff and they bring some new stuff in and how he handles that, because there's no errors for now, right? And the team is playing well and they look very good at what they're doing. I definitely agree on Spinks, but it's like when you need to rebuild the playbook, when you need to redevelop a bit more. Like I think after the Austin Major, that's when I'm going to be looking at like, okay,
Yeah.
where do you go from here? Like,
There's
what's next for Brolan as the IGL?
but there's definitely a drop off in Brolan's individual like capacity. I mean,
But it's
before
not
he
a huge
used to.
one.
But I mean, if we look at like playoff games, right, against G2,
Mhm.
he had a 1-0-2.
Oh,
Like
you're comparing it to like normal Brolan, right?
yeah,
I'm looking at it more in
he used to be
the rest of the
like,
team.
you know, when they had Shuid, he would post like 120 playoff games,
Yeah,
uh, kind of rating, and he's definitely dropped off to more like that stable 1.0, which is a great comparison to just like what IGLs have to endure in focus. You could be that 120 player rating, but just because you have this like IGL stuff on your shoulder, you're definitely getting dropped a bit, in
yep,
what you can produce, because of that extra responsibility. But just looking at Mouse Spirit will go into the game, but he had a 0.96 and in the final a 0.76 rating. So there,
yeah. But that was that. We'll come on to the final in a bit. I want
yeah,
to finish the last quarterfinal game
yeah,
because this I think the best quarterfinal game we had, even though the Mongols one was crazy and the way they dominated Navi, the Spirit Eternal Fire game was awesome, dude. I'll start with looking at Eternal Fire and for saying I feel so fucking bad for them because they had that series 2-0 without knowing it. Like they had Nuke 100%, and it's just maybe that little bit of inexperience, maybe that little bit of being scared of a team like Spirit. They didn't even have a donk that was like super in form at the beginning as well. He had a terrible first half of Nuke. Um, I don't know. Was the clip of Donk saying like you're bad? Was it this to Eternal Fire?
I have no clue actually.
I can't remember which one. It might have been the Eternal Fire game, but it's like they pressured Spirit so much, and I'm sure now they've reviewed it before here coming to Blast. It hurts even more for them because they had Spirit, they had a chance to go into the semifinals and making another good run. They put up one hell of a fight, and then on Mirage, it was just like that was Spirit's wheelhouse then. And the one thing this quarterfinal game told me was that Spirit were not going to win this tournament and probably wouldn't make the grand final just because of how hard it was even against Eternal Fire for them. Like they were
I,
not at their best shape.
no, and I feel like I don't know. It's weird to call them inconsistent because they're not really inconsistent. But
Yeah.
if you look at where I'm taking it, it feels like they're not immortal with Donk
Yeah.
at the moment. I feel like there's even more teams in this playoff bracket that could have, if we look at Vitality, they could have beaten them. Eternal Fire could have beat them. And Mouse beat them. Could Mongols do it? They probably could. Uh,
I
so
think
like,
Mongols fit into the Eternal Fire category of probably being too scared to them. Navi, obviously, we see them struggle against Spirit multiple times.
but they
So
can
that's a
beat
whole
them.
different. Yeah, they've shown it can be done. Do
So
you want to
it's
just
not. Yeah,
do you want to go straight from this quarterfinal of Spirit Eternal Fire into the semi-final of Mouse Spirit just to keep in
sure.
trend with it? Because that's where it gets interesting. Where like just go now onto the map page, and I tweeted this because I said like looking at the head-to-heads, I feel like Mouse. At first, I thought it was like Shuhei, but now it's clearly not because there were times where we looked. I think it was the qualification for the Copenhagen Major as well, um, where Mao's won 2-0 over Spirit, and they found a way to like nullify Donk, not make him invisible, but like ways to shut down what they were doing. And it feels like this matchup, it's 8 wins right now to Spirit and 7 to Mouse. It's always close. There's always good back and forth fights. Obviously, there was the Bet Boom finals where it was 3-0 for Mouse, which was like that's just a crazy one. But
Yeah.
this Mouse definitely are not scared to fight against Donk. They're not scared to fight against Spirit, and they have a way of playing which Spirit still can't handle at times. The nuke obviously went to overtime. It's that 1v1 between Torzi and Zontix at the very end, where Torzi actually
Yeah,
goes in
the
to do the
zero
fake plant.
second.
Yeah, and he's like, then goes for the fight. Zontix gets baited into it. Boom, they walk away with that win. Dust 2, it's just such a good. It's by the way, Dust 2 for Chopper has always been a map since even they didn't have Donk, but he was good. Like he was good at calling on this map. He understood this map. They get a 10-2 first half on the T side, and then afterwards they just take their time to grind it out. But this was a great semi-final, and it had it all. And this is where I started to like, okay, now we're at full hype for Pro League for sure. And I think Mao's here showed that, okay, I don't care. This doesn't need to be on a stage. They proved those inclusion of poker that stages are not affecting them. You know, it's not the same as them being studio merchants, but it showed them that they can still, with Spinks, with this new IGL in Brolan coming in, have great games against them. And I love it.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? I mean, they keep. I still feel like our mouse. If you look at all the teams, our mouse up there in the top 4, 3, 2. Like, where are them? Or where are
Mm,
they? Because now it's 2
mm.
tournaments in a row. Would you say mouse is better than Navi?
I need to see them play against each other.
Yeah, but it's one of
I'd,
those
I'd
things
put
that they're kind of
put them in top
sneaking
4, top
up there
5.
in the
Yeah,
top, you know, and it's very
you're trying to
interesting to
hurt me
see.
here.
Yeah,
You're trying to
yeah,
hurt me.
I had to throw that one out in there. Uh,
Legitimately, right now they're playing better CS. I can
yeah,
say that Mouse are playing better CS than Navi.
but
You might have to
same.
give them the respect, even with the way it goes down the grand final. That Mouse could be. Mouse is a top 4 team right now.
Yeah, I think so. And it's kind of weird to say in a way
It
because
depends on which matchup they get as well, right? Like
yeah,
if they didn't have, so if they didn't get Spirit in the semis game, then it's a whole different story potentially. But obviously, this is a good matchup for them. This
yeah.
is a matchup they've
I
got
mean,
that
if they get on
confidence
the
in.
vitality in the quarterfinals, I think they're gonna struggle. Because I think
Yeah,
the only team they won or lost against in this tournament was Vitality because they lost 2-0 in the groups and they lost 3-0 in the finals.
yeah, that's it. You're correct. So
So
Vitality with the kryptonite for him.
yeah, so they only need to really hope Vitality, you know, are on the other side and they'll get to
I'm
the
a
final.
Sunderland bracket, and we'll just meet in the grand final again.
Yeah, yeah,
But okay, I'll come on to the grand final later. We still got the other. We got the Vitality Mongols
yeah.
semi final to do, bro. This is like, I respect the Mongols for trying to punish Pick here, yeah. But even Vitality said like, people can't keep trying to go for our Anubis because they're not bad on it, and they showed it, man. It was crazy. It was a 9-3 T side. Okay, yes, it's T sided, but like then it was 4-1 CT side. It was great work from everyone on Vitality, and Mongols at times just looked always like they were getting caught everywhere. They didn't look like the same team that played against Navi. I think Yanko mentioned it on the cast. He was like, Navi are probably watching this game now and saying, where the hell was this Mongols yesterday? Why? Like, Mongols did not look like the same team, man.
But I feel like this game is like this is when I watched this game, it was like, okay, Vitality is 100% winning this tournament.
Oh, really? This is what it
100%.
told you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say this
100%.
now. When I saw this game, I was confident anyway Vitality would win the tournament, but I said like, okay, in the grand final, it might be like a 3-1. Like they could slip up on a nuke or they could slip up on Anubis. But other than that, Vitality is just too strong, especially in a best of 5. Their map pool is so good right now.
It's also like their individuals. I think their calling has become a lot better since Rops came in, or like after that first tournament where they were a little bit iffy and they just barely practiced together. But right
Oh,
now,
the bounty. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like their T sides are just fucking slapping. They're so good.
And
I'll bring some.
everyone's saying that Apex has got so good reads, but I also think Apex individually playing well is probably helping his calling. Like you can talk about this more than I do, but my mentality is that like if an IGL is also individually feeling it, then he has a better read for the game, right? He has a better calling pacing to his calls.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can make different kinds of calls if you're that confident. Because I mean, what I've seen Apex do now is like they do a lot of this like faking default with like very simple things. There would
Hmm.
be. I have some exact examples from the finals, so maybe I'll wait with this until we get to the
Okay,
finals.
okay, yeah.
But I'll
Well,
explain
wait,
later
do we
why.
need to touch on much more the Mongols one, because then they got onto Inferno and
They
they got
got
slapped
slapped.
again.
They
Like,
got so
bro,
slapped.
I tweeted a picture of my dog sleeping and I was like, yeah, he's not here anymore. The dog, like, we were trying to watch the game and like after Nuke, I thought, okay, Inferno. If you guys remember in the past, the Mongols' like best map was always Inferno. They would either pick it, then if teams played against them in a decided map, or you played against them in a best of one, that's where you're gonna get upset. And then no one turned up. Like they didn't have a chance. And Flames, by the way, was just like all of a sudden, flame on, let's go. I'm gonna rock everyone's head. So yeah, there was zero chance.
Yeah, it didn't feel close at all. I mean, even if they got that nuke win, it was
Yeah.
very, very like they had to fight for that one.
It took a better was it Techno or Nuke? Let me just check before I just lie to everyone.
It was techno,
Yeah,
yes.
Techno, like the best map he'd probably like. I've never even seen him play like that. It was insane. That's not the player I'm expecting to be the one that turns the tide for you, and changes things around. But I still say Mongols great to the semis again. We've said this now, I think, since the beginning of the year or since Katowice. Consistent playoff team. They proved it at the end of last year. They're doing it again now. They can be so proud that they're raising the flag for Mongolia and also just the Asia region of
Even the
like, we can do
Mongolian
this.
government.
Yeah, I don't know if we spoke about it on last episode, but I think we did. We touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to have easier visas now. The government's going to help them more. They're probably the most famous Mongolians other than Genghis Khan. They must be. I know we're only in our little
Probably.
Counter-Strike world, but like they must be like mega stars for Mongolian people and Mongolian culture. Growing
Actually,
up
I
in
did
them
watch an
internet
episode where
cafes.
they like visited.
Oh,
They had like a team vlog where they
yeah.
went to like I don't know where in Mongolia, like
Where's
out
it?
of
Was it over the
nowhere.
Christmas where they were drinking with the wrestlers?
Yeah, and they had this like cooked
Yeah.
like meat, like whole pig or something. And it looked absolutely amazing.
I want to go
And
to
they have such
Mongolia.
good
I'd love to
vibes,
visit.
like the team. They're just
Yeah.
giggling away, having fun. No, it's a great watch. Watching one
And
of those vlogs.
did you ever like play against Mara?
Mara.
Yeah, because I think he's the coach, right? Was he ever coaching one of the sides when? Because I saw the post that he's been
Ooh,
doing it for 10 years now, trying to bring up these different Mongolian sides. And obviously, there were times they were qualifying. Let me try and find it.
did I play against Mara
Yeah, I'm trying to see because like he's
team?
been doing it for time, and now here we go. A decade of resistance: the history of Mongolian Counter Strike from 2015 to 2025, and it's all him. There's a whole video out by a guy called Phy, Phy. We'll share it in the comments or something because all people to say. But like,
I have
he never
to
gave
check.
up, bro. He never gave up.
I mean, it's not impossible.
That's crazy.
Maybe
But
I
what a
played him in
journey of
like
doing it.
MSI Beat It or something. This was 2013.
But yeah, it's either way. They can be so proud of what they've done, man. I'm happy for them. They're a team that you
Yeah.
just have to love. They're a team you have to love. Now, okay, this finals, I remember before we'd even got to the end of the first half, yeah. And Striker from HLTV, he was like, don't do this or something. He tweeted at me. I just said, I literally tweeted out, congratulations, Vitality, ESL Pro League Season
Oh
21
my god.
champions. Like before the map had even ended. Like we were at the beginning of the first few rounds of Inferno. Mao's okay, they fought a little bit on Dust 2. Apex said in the interview afterwards, like, yeah, there was a few rounds that could have gone either way. We were like, luck was on our side. But damn, Vitality were on another level. And this was Mezzi, by the way. Just there's no more conversation about Mezzi's the best player because I think Maui was talking about this, right? That's where I get this tweet from. But like, Mezzi's the best British player. Only because Smooya like didn't go on to have success or his attitude or whatever. But like, I think Mezzi is the best British player of all time of any Counter Strike ever. I don't care about your Rattlesnakes or your Mangia Capra or anyone else like that. Mezzi is the most decorated on the biggest events at the highest level. And it's not just one event now, it's multiple events. And he just put up a 1.33 rating across the best of three. Above Zywoo, above Flames, above Rops. Now, they all played insane. Like,
I mean,
they're
even
all in the
start.
plus.
I'll start with the Dust too. Like, what if you just look at their T side? They won 9-3, and the rounds Mouse won, they had struggles in them. Vitality could have
Yep.
easily won those as well. But what's so interesting is like they do this thing like on Dust 2. They started off, they want to punish B, right?
Mhm.
They get smoked off, they cancel, they spread around the map, they go for this like out mid. They're just trying to pressure mid, constantly be out, flashing out, doing a B split, trying to get someone killed. And basically, next round, they go for the same thing where I think they actually did this like default. That's fake default. And all they do is
Yeah.
like they have one rifle top mid. He's just shooting the smoke in mid doors. Like tap,
Was it
tap,
Zywoo
tap,
with the
tap.
rifle?
Yeah, probably. And then
Yeah.
they
I
just
think
take
he got 3 kills.
three guys. They just walk through the mid smoke. Straight out mid. And they just win the round because they just stay
Yeah.
there and one guy just peeks while the smoke is up and just dies, and they just throw all the nades at the same time and explode in this like really really aggressive way, and then they just go back to want to punish B again, because now all of a sudden we cannot just let them walk out through the smoke in mid. So kind of
Yeah.
conditioning them to like, this has to be a worry. Okay. Because that is a
Breaking
worry for
them.
them. We're now going B, just breaking them in B. And then
Yep.
all of a sudden they have to play 2 in B, leaving mid open again. Apex just goes out in the middle of a smoke while they're doing like an A split up short. So they're constantly creating these like worrying scenarios for Mouse
Mhm.
where there are things like, okay, if they execute B, you want 2 on B, right?
Yep.
But if they're B splitting, you don't only want 2 in B. You kind of want to fight off one side. You choose either mid or B.
Yeah. And retaking B is
So
also obviously
there's
very hard.
constantly like this. This is the best way to like play Counter Strike, to make your opponents make mistakes. Is because you're like, you have constantly 2 different outcomes that they have to question, and they have to choose an option. If they choose the
And
wrong
it's the
option, they
mind
probably
games.
die. Or
Yep.
they lose the round. And they're constantly putting these worries into Mouse's head throughout the T side, where they try to fix it, but then all of a sudden Apex has made a call to make an A split. They're fixing the issue and they're doing something else. So
And it's just one step ahead.
yeah, so it's really really good calling from Vitality and Apex throughout this whole T side, and I was super impressed by how just red they were. And then all of a sudden they throw in the perfect timing, like, okay, they're probably going to be aggressive. They just wait for like a minute on the clock. And yes, they are aggressive. Mouse is aggressive. They want to get a pick lower. They want to get a pick mid, but all of a sudden their utility's out. And then they just
Mhm.
start creeping forward as a group and find the call in the mid round. It just felt like they got denied any opportunity to do anything, Mouse, because just constantly good utility, good patience, good at like having speedy rounds to kind of surprise them with falling back when they expected aggression. So it, that just makes Vitality like the best team in the world right now, because
In a big
they
way.
have the T sides, they have the individual skill on all players to make clutches, multifrags, to kind of turn the round in their favor, even if they do something wrong or make a wrong call, they can still win it. And yeah, I just everyone is just so good. And when you have Apex in this form as well, willing to just solo go out mid, solo go out long, he did like a
Yeah,
solo fake on long, and they
do you know
were
what's
free
crazy
on
about
B.
how he's doing this? He's so like, we spoke about Apex's individual performance is great, but some of the moves he's making is like, if you think of the other individuals on his team, let's just point out only Flames, Rops, and Zywoo. Yeah. if any of those three make a play or make a peak on their position, you should be worried for it. But sometimes Apex will make this move that I think like, this is a ballsy move. It's a crazy move. And he'll just go out, make a pick, get a peek, and get some information. And the other team's already scared because you don't think it's going to be him. You think someone else is going to be there. Or then it's followed up by someone, obviously, even more notable, even stronger, right? And it's the confidence he has, then the trash talking on top of it. He's like, the way he's been doing it, I've never seen it as much as this.
But
It's actually crazy.
it is one of those things. I like that you mentioned this, like how he's doing it when he takes out peaks. And you, by the way he takes those peaks and takes these duels, uh, you would assume he has backup.
Yeah.
So he is taking these really confident peaks with good read of the game of where the other players in the opposing team are positioned, just to kind of fake this presence. Like, now we are here, we own this map control. He does it alone short, he does it out mid, he does it on long. He just goes out, flashes over, takes a peek, falls back continuously, like kind of jiggle peeking, uh, throwing smokes, using utility. And it's so annoying to play against. So annoying. They have an in-game leader doing that, making you get a B site for free because you solo took long. You can't ask for anything more. I mean, it's faking with the pattern of how a player approaches certain spots, as well as using utility on it.
Yeah.
So I
I wanted
really
to ask you
really
about
love that.
the veto as well, because there's some things in here, right? Mouse, obviously, maybe they wanted to go and try and test train, but I don't think you're going to first pick that in a best of 5. So again, it was left until the very end. We didn't get to see it. They pick Nuke. Obviously, they don't play Anubis, which is the other one team to try to challenge against Vitality. They maybe thought that, okay, they played so bad on Nuke against Mongols, they lost it in the end in that overtime. That's why we picked it first. But do you think they made a mistake first picking Nuke? Because they got slapped again. Like, it was a rough T side.
I mean, let me take a look here. I mean, they obviously play a lot of. I think their train is just like they've won it, but they've barely won it against some teams
Yeah.
that I don't think
And
they
it's
can
still a
go
lot of
that
teams are
route.
just
They
scared
probably
to
want
play
to
it,
go
right?
for a comfort map. They know they can't go into Dust 2. Their Mirage has actually been a bit of a struggle as of late. They use it as their first pick generally, but they've won 3 times out of the 8 times they've played it.
Oof.
So they probably just like, yeah, but we're good on Nuke. Let's just
So just
do
a
some
comfort
prep.
pick with it. Yeah.
I
Do you
think they
know
just felt like we can probably over prep it and be ready, and they won't expect it. But at the same time, because I think it's just a problem that their main map is not as comfortable for them, and they know that Mirage is going to be a struggle no matter what. It's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's just try to pick something in there,
Just
because
see
you
if we
have to
can get it
take
there.
the. If you go into the other game they played, the best of 3, right? Mouse picked Inferno. That didn't work out. So they were like running out of
But
ideas.
Vitality probably have the best Inferno right now. Jesus Christ. Their
Yeah.
Inferno is insane. Their Inferno is so good. And do you know what's
I don't know.
crazy? I saw this, right? Look down the first halves. Every first half was won 9-3 by Vitality. Doesn't matter if it was CT or T side when they started, their map pick or Mouse's map pick. It was just comfortable first half.
Yeah.
You have so much room to work with. And they were just flowing. They lost 9 rounds on Dust 2, 4 on Nuke, 5 on Inferno. And it might have been an incredibly boring grand final, but it was like Vitality came to play. They're now 1 win away from an ESL event of making the Grand Slam. That would mean Rops would have won it twice. Apex could finally get one. That was what he's missing. Same for
Yeah.
Zywoo. Obviously, Flames and Mezzi, they've definitely never won one. There is so much at stake here. There is so much on the line. And this could be so dominant as well. You just add Rops, you get Katowice, You then get Pro League. Now you can do it in Melbourne. I don't want to see him do it in Melbourne, by the way. I don't know if you remember Dallas last year, but like Vitality should have won it. They were playing against G2 with a Stewie standing on an American crowd.
Oh yeah.
And like the whole crowd was screaming, "Fuck you, Apex." By the way, that was hilarious. Like I was there live watching it during the interviews. It was a cool event, but it's like G2 9 times out of 10 shouldn't have won that. They did. Imagine if they Vitality don't win in Melbourne, but they win it in Dallas. He gets gold bars in front of a crowd that was then cheering that at him. That would be like the ultimate icing on the cake for him to win his Grand Slam in Dallas.
It would be, yeah.
I'd love to see that. That would be amazing.
The
That
whole
would be
the
that
whole
would be the
crowd
best moment.
cheering "Fuck you, Apex."
And then he's like, "How about fuck you now? I'm the one with the gold bars." And he definitely talks some shit about it, man. He definitely would.
No, but I think Vitality is dominantly the best team in the world right now. I think
Look at his ratings, by the way, the last two events. Katowice for Apex, 1.10. EPL, 1.13. He even went plus. He went plus 11.
yeah, I
These
mean
numbers are insane.
they're not doing much wrong right now, Vitality.
No. This could be their year. I know it's early to say, but this really could be their year.
I think
Like
it
this.
is like it's looking too good too early on for it not to even
Mhm.
like get better. And I think a big part of that is probably like Rop's analytical mind to it, you know, adding small fixes into s- to strats, positioning, how they approach some stuff. Because he probably takes, you know, a lot of the thought process from Face and Carrigan into it.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
I also
so
think his voice is going to be so different to Spinks's, you know?
yeah.
Like
And
I'm gonna ask him during Lisbon, during this event. I'm gonna ask Apex is like, how much is that voice helping this? I'm not talking about his individual output, but like his voice and what he's been able to bring. How much is that you attributing to the success? I
but
need
I
to find
also
out.
think, you know, when you look at the team, like they're smiling every single round, they're
Yeah.
joking around, they are it's just like chemistry cannot be, you know, any better than it is right now for
No.
Vitality. And you see it, you know, everyone's enjoying their game, you know. I don't even
Well, they're
think I've
also
seen Apex be that mad when they're losing rounds, you
no.
know. This like classic Apex, you know, like
Oh yeah. Just,
like
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
I haven't really seen that, you know. I mean, he's put his head down a couple of times and stuff, but they seem to really love, you know,
But
playing with
they were
each
saying
other.
about good vibes. The talent was saying about that, like when you're in the studio, obviously we don't see it on the cameras, we don't see it from the broadcast, and I wasn't there. But the other talent was saying that they come with like playing music before the games, joking around with each other,
Yeah.
messing around, you know. And people can talk about it's a honeymoon and stuff like that, but it's like that vibe did not exist in the same way for the latter part of 2024 for Vitality. Like I didn't see it.
No, I
There was a
mean,
small honeymooner period when Messi joined at the beginning, and that was it.
there was more talking about why the vibe is so bad when they won a major, uh, essentially. But I think they're in a perfect position right now. They're enjoying their Counter
Hmm.
Strike. I don't think they would, you know, put their heads down if they came top four. Obviously disappointed, but I think they coming from this. I think they have such a strong belief in their team. They're gonna be, you know, no matter what, the wrecking force for entirety of 2025. I can't imagine a
Yeah,
position where Vitality isn't challenging for titles throughout the year right now.
yeah. But that's it. They went on to win ESL Pro League. That's the end of our review of Pro League. I think overall, viewership not great for Pro League. The talent are carrying the fun aspect of it and bringing us something different. It's still enjoyable. It's still a different class. A lot of the games were a little bit boring, but obviously there's a lot of the revenue share that comes into it, and the more the club share, and it's something for the organizations. Um, I think the main thing that I look at Pro League now is it's just they're going to make a positive step forward in 2026, from what I read. Note linked to me that he put a when I tweeted about them not having a crowd and stuff. That obviously changing is going to be great. It does suck that it will be also online for the first two stages. Like that'll obviously play some negative factors into games,
And
but
honestly,
let's
one side note on this as well.
Hmm.
It's kind of sad they're not gonna do that many skits anymore because the skits have always been incredible.
Yeah, but maybe I think the talent probably won't be from home, right? Surely,
I
surely they put the
mean,
talent
if
in the
they're doing
studio
online, they're
somewhere.
probably using like the Stockholm
Oh,
studio or something,
yeah.
that I
Well,
don't know if
hopefully
it's
they keep the skits
DreamHack's.
going. The skits
Is
bang.
DreamHack Studio?
Yes, it's the old DreamHack studio. It's obviously they're all under the same EFG thing now.
Yeah. So it's not gonna be the same vibe at all.
No, sadly not. Sadly not. Um, but we're getting some roster moves. Some of the interesting ones that happened while we were away. I know at least this one came as a bit of a surprise for me. Was FlyQuest Dexter benched after a year? Um, he won't be replaced by an IGL. It's sad to see him go because when I spoke to him at the Shanghai major, he was talking about how much like the players believed him in. They're on the same page. He's able to make the calls he wanted again after such a horrible time he had in Fnatic. They get Regali, and I thought that was going to be exciting, bringing in the European AWPA. Um, but obviously, they're still having problems. I'd love to know the reason why Dexter's gone so early in this because
Yeah.
I don't think they gave him enough time with Regali to really make his mark. But Inns, people may not remember this, but he did used to be IGL for the team, so now he's coming back to be the IGL. And then Netic is going to be the one that replaces Dexter, but obviously will probably fill in for more like better roles for him. So this could work out, but I think it's going to be another one or two steps backwards to see FlyQuest move forward and
But
get out of the rut of just being the Aussie team that comes in and gets smacked and maybe has a chance every now and again.
yeah, but you know what's fun about this is I
Hmm.
was looking into Netic, right? Like who replaced
Yeah,
Dexter. I was watching, go to Perfect World Shanghai Major 2024 Asia RMR qualifier.
yeah.
Netic just smashed FlyQuest.
Ah,
It's
okay.
one of those, if you
You beat
can't
the shit
beat
out of
them,
us, we'll take him.
yeah. But I looked at some of his stats, and his stats are actually quite insane. Obviously, the level of opposition isn't
Yeah,
the
nowhere
greatest,
near.
but it's the best he can be playing against, playing in Talons, with Azar, I think.
And yeah, it was Az's on there, and they probably got him for free because if I remember, Talon's just like left CS, right? They said they weren't going to do it anymore. So I'm assuming it's just an assumption that they wouldn't have had to pay big bucks for him. So it's just like a good lateral move for everyone involved.
Yeah, and he seems to be this very aggressive rifler, entry fragger. Uh, if you just look quickly on his like HLTV page, he has 93 out of 100 in openings and 100 in firepower.
Solid. We'll have to
So
see how you can do on the big levels.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Then this is kind of smaller news. There's a bit of coach news in there though. JNT is come in to be the MIBR coach. Remember when we were co-streaming, we said, where the hell has Bit gone? The legendary Brazilian player from the MIBR 1.6 days. Where's he gone from coaching MIBR? Their analyst was then coaching on EPL, and now they've added JNT in there. But he comes from Furia Female, so
That's
obviously
an
this is a good
interesting
opportunity
move.
for him. Yeah, it's a good opportunity for him, right? They've obviously seen something in him, whatever they reviewed in it, but he now has a chance to show what he can do with this team that is kind of in a weird spot, right? If I look at MIBR, they made more changes again, They changed, dropped to IGL. Now he's not the IGL anymore. Exits back to being the IGL. BRN4N, whatever you call him. Breno, I think they call him, right? He's come back in. So I'm still not sold on the MIBR roster. I still keep saying Insani and Lukowski are the exciting ones for me. I just want to see Insani get onto a better team or have a chance to show us what he
Yeah,
can do because he's the star. He's the real beast of that team.
but
I
it
guess it's
feels
just a
like
waiting
MIBR
game.
has that problem. They only have this like kind of, yeah, I could call uh
Yeah,
type
not the
player.
natural. I
Yeah,
am the IGL.
yeah, exactly. So they don't really have that leader. Uh, I'm not saying I don't really know that much about them
Yeah,
personally that I could even say that, but it feels like that is a classical, consequence of having that issue, having to switch out players back and forth into that role where you're kind of gambling a little bit. Will it work out or will it
Yeah.
not? We'll see how that goes.
The other one, by the way, I don't know what's going on with him. I might DM him to try and find this out. But Config gets released from NIP.
Yeah,
Honestly, no offense to him, but I think like he's kind of out of it. He's kind of forgotten about by a lot of teams. Maybe if he's a free agent now, though, there could be interest again. Obviously, he had that drama with what happened to him in Malta and things like that. But if you look down his Twitter, the last tweet he made was August the 2nd, 2024. And now he's put up some like gladiator references of pictures. There's no CS talk. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's trying to make some kind of like symbolic message here with
but
the gladiator
I mean,
photos.
he's probably gonna have a little bit of a tough time because I mean he needs to be in that kind of config form where he's so incredibly
Yeah,
good
but
that
how long ago was that?
it was. But I mean, otherwise, Org's probably not gonna touch him because of the
Yeah,
past, unfortunately. You
he's
know,
gonna have to go on a huge, huge grind.
yeah, and
Huge grind.
it's not gonna be starting from the top.
No, no, not again. No, I don't. I don't think like.
Was
Obviously, he won't
very
get a shot on Astralis. Probably wouldn't be. It would need to be, um, like not starting fresh, but probably an international team again, and tier 2, 2.5, and try and make your way from that.
I would probably say something like ecstatic or something.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Actually, that's quite a nice one. If they want him as well, right? It
Yeah,
depends. Then there'd have to be no ego involved. I'm not saying he has an ego, but like he'd have to fully be able to reset into.
I'm not
I
that
want to
good
grind my
anymore.
way
You
back
know,
to
like
this.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I wish him all the best, though, man. I've always liked
yeah.
Config. He's always given me solid interviews. He's a good guy for me, at least personally.
He's a
Whenever
fun
I've been
dude.
speaking to him, yeah. Sad news. No real roster move. It's just retirement. Guardian. I don't know how old is Guardian when I look at. Let's have a look. How old is Guardian?
Is he the same age
I've
as
s-
me?
us
Yeah.
me. You say?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Aren't you 90? I'm 91.
Oh, okay. You're a baby then. That's fine. Yeah.
I'm a baby.
He is the same as you. Yeah, he's 33, old Guardian. Mate, what a career he's had. I just think the only thing I wished is that, like, after Navi, he'd made the decision not to retire after Navi, but like maybe try one more team afterwards and then go, you know? Because it was kind of like a slow drop off of him then realizing that he didn't want to do it.
But
His tweet's
it
cool
went
though.
really quickly, the drop off. It went from
Yeah.
Navi to according to this Trident. I don't even remember this
I
team.
don't I don't even remember. That's not a name. That's not a team I remember.
And then best CP and singularity.
I remember the Singularity one. I do remember that. But yeah, that's it. Like
Ah, okay, yeah.
it was kind of rough. It was kind of rough, man. So like he says, end of an amazing chapter, beginning of something new. I'm very interested to see what that something new would be. I've still got him on Steam. I know he was streaming before as well. I think like he's such a good guy.
Yeah, he
Like
is.
I have nothing bad to say about Guardian at all. I just wish he like went out on more of a high than this, like, because some people probably even forgot about him, you know? Like for us,
Dude,
we'd
he
never
was
forget about him and what he'd
so
done.
good, man. Oh my
Exactly.
god.
Exactly. And he's got tons of trophies. He's got, let's just look, his MVP, E-League CSGO Invitational 2019, IM Sydney 2018, Counterpit Season 2 Finals, IM San Jose 2015, ESWC 2015, Star Ladder XIII, I don't even know what that is in fucking Roman numerals, ESL Pro League Winter 2015 Finals, Game Show Season 1 Finals. He's got trophies to
He
his
was the
name.
second best player in 2015.
See, look at that. His Navi and phase runs were brilliant. He was fantastic. I have many fond,
I
good
mean, he had
memories
a
of him,
streak
man.
from being in the top 20 list from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
That's solid. That's really solid. But that is another legend retiring, and this we're going to see more and more of this, by the way, because I
Yeah.
feel like we're at the turning point with CS2, with a lot of these guys will keep retiring, especially as there's more young players coming up now, and they are so good. They are so damn good with it as well.
And it's gonna go faster now as well with CS2 because people are gonna get to know. You know, it's tough when you like I'm playing Counter-Strike, and your body just tells you this is how you play Counter-Strike, and then it's just a
Yeah.
completely new game. Even the smallest tweaks, it's kind of
Yep.
hard to relearn.
Bro,
Uh,
well, I'm going through that when we're just playing our FACEIT games.
yeah, I mean it's tough. I've gone through
Really
now.
tough.
It's 3 games in total:
Yeah,
1.6,
it's
CS:GO, and then CS2.
oh shit, yeah, because I ignore Source. I never really played that. So yeah, I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. It's been a long journey of all that. Um, Before we get on to do our Blast Lisbon preview, I want to look at the PGL thing because we were touching on this, right, with the whole club share, the revenues, everything that's going on, how it affects the VRS. I think I said, and I don't have the exact quote, but I think I said last time, I don't think Silvio, the CEO of PGL, will go back on his words, right? He doesn't want to pay out this money to club shares or anything else like that. He wouldn't do it. Well, oh no, it changed. Because, like, the tweet we'll bring up for you guys to start off with is the one we mentioned before. He said, I wanted to clarify how the 1.25 million funding for each PGL event will be distributed. He's just said, like, it'll all go one money in that way, one payout. So many people supported him. So many people backed him with it. Organizations wanted their club share. So, like, they wouldn't come to his events unless they were going to get the club share. Well, now it all changed. Let's get the date of this one. It was 28th of February. PGL announced prize pool split update for PGL Bucharest 2025 following the VRS clarification that teams' prize pools is considered for ranking points. The prize pools will have a new distributed system starting with PGL Bucharest. Now, remember, I said he would never go back on his words, right? Some people, this guy, I don't know what's his name, White Casts, he says, this didn't age well. I don't think this guy was fair in saying that because it's nothing to do with didn't age well. Valve changed the clarification and the rules on the prize pools and how it would be done and how it would be considered. So PGL obviously had the 1.25 million put out there, yeah, because obviously the more money would affect the VRS rankings. And the club shares at the beginning did not affect that. Well, now it's all together. So it doesn't matter if it's club share or not, which goes to the team, which goes to the players. And I'm going to come back to this again. Players' salaries are obviously very high. The organizations need to pay for it. And these are the contracts that I've seen signed. This is how the world is working because of the system used before in the old partner leagues. Well, PGL have always gone for the Valve way of doing things, right? Which is why they've run some amazing majors and had these great tournaments. They've done it in the correct format. So, yes, it's different to what Silvio said back on January the 30th, and it is a very different look at it. But he's just going in lines with what Valve want and Valve have put out there in the ruling.
I mean,
So,
the way we can look at it is, if this rule change didn't happen, do we think Sylvie would
mhm.
have gone back on his word? I think no.
No, yeah, exactly. That's my point. That's
Yeah.
exactly my point. Because I stick to my guns. Is he's always been a very straight to the point person and keeping it. If that rule change didn't happen, he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have cared if more teams
Yeah.
didn't go to his events,
So
and go through all of that
contextually,
stuff.
like he's not wrong, or if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But then obviously there was a knock on, and I feel bad for PGL, man, because I'll say this: PGL always take everything on the chin, where they never say Valve did this and it fucked us. Valve did this and we just followed the rules. They take all the community backlash, all the community stuff that comes their way. Obviously, this heavily affected the PGL Bucharest qualifications, and there was a lot of things that went on really badly, like with the rescheduling. And they had to put out a tweet saying we are refining the invitation process to ensure the consistency and fairness for all teams. These adjustments made better to comply with the tournament operations requirements have led to the rescheduling of EU, SA, and NA qualifiers. Obviously, this hurt a lot of teams, and it gets more because then we get onto the main invites, right? So last time around, when we did Cluj Poker, no Navi, no Spirit, no Furia. They even dropped out from it. This time, it's not the very best, right? Because you have to remember, with this Bucharest one to start with, Bucharest will not affect your VRS for the major. The cutoff date is before that. Lisbon is the last big event for it.
Yeah.
We're about to start in 2 days' time. It's the 18th today of March. But still, some teams who are obviously lacking some points or maybe want to get a bit of testing in before the major are deciding to go. G2, Mongols, FaZe, Eternal Fire, Falcons, Liquid, Furia, VP, Gamer Legion, 3D Max, Astralis, and Pain. One thing I'll say looking at this, yeah, Mongols, Eternal Fire, Falcons, bro, they're at every event.
Yep. I mean, they need it. I mean,
They're burning. Well, Mongols
so
don't need it.
close
Mongols are third. Mongols are third in Mongols and Eternal Fire are good.
I'm not
And
sure.
I think they're playing.
Oh, okay, they might be, but if they're probably just
Mongols, no one
up.
can touch them in Asia's spot, and Eternal
That's
Fire
true.
right now will go straight through to stage 3. They like Eternal Fire, who already spoke openly about missing home, yeah, and yeah, they're trying to make the most of this.
Falcons need it.
Yeah, so Falcons need it. I'll agree with that. They don't really have much of a choice. G2's doing it because they probably want more practice, given how their results are not great. This is a good lineup, by the way. This makes Bucharest nice.
To is it stage
3?
Yeah,
but it doesn't affect the major.
Oh yeah, that doesn't.
This is cut off. So that's what I'm saying. So this one for me is more about the practice. Yeah, this one's more about getting ready for the major. You can test some things out here. You know,
it does affect.
It affects the VRS rankings, but not for the invites for the major.
Yeah, but we did mention something. I think it was last one, or maybe we just had a conversation about it actually on our WhatsApp. But we were talking about this, you know, that there was like a 4-month period the invites came in. So
yes, that was for the update that's going to come in 2026. Yeah.
Yeah. So like at the cutoff period, just having
for where the seeding is.
Yeah, just having those invites 4 months before the end of the year just secures you the rest of the year's tournaments.
Yeah. Which is obviously, it's playing the long game, right?
Yeah.
But some teams don't need to do it so much. I mean, it's good. It's a nice list. But then the really important one, right, is Astana. Because Astana, what did I tell you guys? I said this last time around. There is no way, even with this stupid money split, that Spirit and Na'Vi would skip Astana, you know, a Russian-speaking audience, given what the organizations are, you know? Yeah. Having Ukrainian players on the Na'Vi side, Russian and Ukrainian players on the Spirit side, they were not going to skip that. And Astana is being all done. So all players, all teams are in Kazakhstan from the beginning. And you're going to have Spirit, G2, Na'Vi, Mongols again, by the way, Big, Game Legion, Eternal Fire again, MIBR, Furia, Astralis, Pain, VP. By the way, I'm just I'll put this out here. No Falcons, yeah. Admittedly, Falcons, this one they did skip. Zonic said, wait a second, this is way too much. But the crazy thing is, let me look at the dates, because we have to look at, this is where I get worried for some teams. Because if you go deep in Astana, yeah, Astana finishes on the 18th of May. The 19th, Dallas starts. That means the media day is on the 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, and the teams that cross over there is Eternal Fire and Mongols and G2. They're at both.
But do you think they would make like a special...
And Gamer Legion. Yeah, they would be a way for them to skip it, right, or find a way to do it.
Like, but do like it online or whatever. Like
you can't really do media online. I think you just do it after, like, you play one game right on the first day.
Well, maybe
so there'll be a
pre-game interview or something online or something.
No, I for quality of a broadcast, they won't ever do it.
No, maybe not.
From my understanding, that won't happen. But also, for example, say it is like G2 in there who make the final, yeah. And they've also got to be in Dallas, and Mongols is in the final, or Eternal Fire. There's one day, and you're straight into the next event.
There's also a jet lag situation.
Yeah, you're going from Eastern Europe to Dallas, Texas. I don't know where that is in America. I guess it's south. Yeah, it's Texas south. Help me, Devilwalk.
Where Dallas is?
Yeah, is it south of
Texas?
America?
Yeah, it's south of America.
But it's south of the America. And then obviously, right, if you're in Dallas at this point, like Spirit is skipping Dallas, I think that's very smart. Navi's skipping Dallas, very smart. Vitality are going. This is why I said they're going to go get their gold bars there probably. And then Dallas ends on the 25th of May, and then Austin starts on the first stage for the 2nd of June. But obviously some of these teams won't be in, they'll be in the second stage or the third stage. So you've got more time to be ready, acclimatized, and move on over into all of it. But I think what PGL have done, I don't hold anything bad against them. I know I can say with confidence what I think is the opinion of how Silvio did it and why he went for it. Their invites now and their events have just gone up, so it's hugely positive for them and their sponsors, right?
But wasn't
So
there a big
this is a
problem
good
with
sign
the
all around.
invites because some teams think received invites, then they had to redo the invites,
Yes,
they
yes,
couldn't register for the qualifiers
yeah, because that had
because it
already
was
been
one
started.
day later.
Yeah, that was that. Okay, that was a fuck up. Whoever did that on the tournament side or however that happened at PGL, that's an error.
Yeah, I think that one was the worst one. I don't even care that much about
Imagine how
that.
much
It's
of a
like,
kick in. Yeah, imagine how much of a kick in the teeth that is. That you think you're going to be there, then
yeah,
the rules change, and then you can't even then qualify for it. And obviously, it's a hard qualifier anyway, but you still
but
want a
not
chance to fight for it.
getting removed even the possibility of attending is the hurt thing, you know.
Yeah,
That one
yeah,
stings.
it's crazy.
But okay.
Oh man, but it's all right. For me, things are going in a positive direction.
I mean,
I
still
like what
having
we're seeing with
PGL
it.
in the CS scene is like amazing. It's the
Is a
best
big
thing that
win.
could happen to our scene. Once everything just settles down and we don't get a VRS update every once in a week or two times.
Well, but this is it. We said this since the beginning of the year, right? When we started talking about this on the podcast. Go to episode 1 where we talked about VRS for anyone that didn't watch it yet. Also, shout out if you're still watching 5 episodes in. The VRS is going to take time. I said the first year is going to be messy. The second
Yeah.
year will still be problems, but we'll get there. Valve just take their time, as with everything, even with developing the games, right? Developing the anti-cheat.
No, definitely.
But like,
It's gonna
it's just
be
a long process.
yeah. And as most people are probably, alluding to or thinking about this, it's not
Mhm.
gonna be ready until next year, which is both a sad part and I guess a good part.
Do you know what? I almost missed this when I was looking down our notes. So before we go into Lisbon as well, because we're going to touch on Lisbon in quite some detail, we got to look back at NIP, everyone's favorite team. Jesus Christ, man! They they signed up for Fragadelphia Las Vegas. I'm not saying there's anything against them doing that, right? Obviously, it's a VRS ranking event, so they need all the points they can get. Let me just check before I get this wrong. NIP, where are they right now? NIP are Valve ranking 154.
Yep.
Yeah. You're not getting invited to shit. You're not getting a chance. They beat Fnatic and they beat Nexus, then they lost to Apogi, and then they lost to Fnatic, and then were out of the Bucharest closed qualifier. They lost the Astana open qualifier to a team called Benched.
Yep.
Just a full Russian team. So I know Finnegan on that roster. But yeah, not a great look for them. So they're going to Fragadelphia next. Fragadelphia, they need to try and get as many points as possible. Where is it here? So here we go. So Fragadelphia Vegas team. Let's have a look at this. I just want to see what we're doing. My internet on Wi-Fi here in the hotel is not doing so good. So MAT, NRG, Blue Jays, FlyQuest Red, which I think that's the female team of FlyQuest. Yes, it is. Ghost, and then NIP. NIP is the only European team entering, but it does have a VRS points. It's got $10,000 up for grabs as well. I think 5,000 for first. So NIP right now, like that. If you're NIP, you have to win that event, right?
Yeah. I mean,
You have to.
they're taking
MAT
all
could
the
challenge them.
options.
They need to. And they're entering, what's after that? I saw they're entering
So this is a
Level Up
Swedish
Lund.
local land in Lund called Level Up Lund.
Is that anywhere close to you? Can you go and report for me from that event? Can
No.
I send you as an on the
You're
spot
probably closer.
reporter? Oh God, okay.
It's in the
So
south of Sweden. But
okay.
they announced this is like I think it's 6,000 euros in total prize pool. A LAN, local one. NIP is invited. We have Alliance, the Swedish team.
Yep, I know them
Uh,
guys.
and I'm just scrolling through their like Twitter page because that's where they have announced the invites.
All the
We have
info. Yep.
9 GG, Tricked
Oh no, 9.
Esports,
Yep.
Preezy,
Cool.
Sashi, Masonic. So there's a lot of like Danish and Swedish teams kind of mashed up in there.
Yep.
And yeah, they're going there just to grind VRS points, essentially.
But they have to win both these events.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a must.
the thing is, weirdly enough, I don't think they will win probably any of them.
Either of them.
So
Oh. You're calling it already. They're not winning Philadelphia, Las Vegas, or Level Up Lund. Rip, I guess.
I mean,
sad times,
I,
man.
it just, I don't know, man. I think a lot of Swedes, they still keep track of NIP, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are just, thinking it's a little bit embarrassing at this point.
Not got a single Swedish player on a roster anymore, just exist coaching.
Yeah, and I think on obviously, I think this team would do a lot better if they were in big tournaments. But I think it's the situation. They're losing against quite a lot of random teams online right now, and they've had a few stints with good results, but they've also had this they're losing to Perivision, Apogee.
Yeah.
Teams they should be confidently beating, maybe get upset once or twice, but not this often. And going into a
Didn't
LAN tournament, yes, they do have the
Apogee
experience.
qualified for Bucharest, by the way. They
Oh, wow.
qualified beating OG, Betboom, Fnatic, Nip, Leo, and Partizan. They didn't drop a series.
That's crazy, actually.
Yep.
But it's still,
Polish CS rising up.
I still don't see, them just rocking it up and getting into the top tier anytime soon right now.
And they have so far they need to grind. Like, I don't know. Obviously, when you get to that level of it's 154 in the rankings on the VRS, one of these wins can be doing huge work for them. Even just beating one top 20 team would be massive for them.
Yeah.
But it's getting the opportunity for it, right? It's tough. It's crazy tough.
It is, but I just think if they look that inconsistent, the one thing that they have going for them obviously is like they have a lot of LAN experience in their team. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will bring that up to the level where they can actually win these LANs.
It has to. It
But
actually has
the
to.
consistency tells me otherwise right now.
Yep. Well, coming on to what we've been waiting for, this is what I'm most excited for because I'm back in business. We're at Blast Open Spring 2025, which is going to take us back to Lisbon. It's Blast Open Lisbon. Weird thing is, I keep saying Lisbon, but we're not in Lisbon right now. We're in Copenhagen. We're in Denmark. We start here in Copenhagen. Then when we get through to the playoffs, we go to Portugal again. Bro, Lisbon, that arena was amazing last time. I get to work with a close friend of mine, Archerom. He is, bro, so first of all, he's an anime guy like me, so we have a lot in common. But he on stage is so fun to work with. Last time around, I had a drum on stage while we were hyping up the rest of the crowd. And it's not the biggest of arenas, but that Portuguese crowd is like amazing. Like they're fully pumped up, ready to go, and they just like good Counter-Strike because there's no real, like there's SOAR, but there's no real Portuguese team for them to go for. Definitely not
No,
here.
but they'll
And
definitely be
so,
shouting a little bit extra for Brazilians. They're
yes, there'll be a bit of that, but no. I'm just
speaking.
gonna say now, no Brazilian team is making it to the playoffs to the arena. I'll put
You
that
don't
out
believe
before we
Furia
even
will beat
start a
Navi?
preview. It's not happening, man. It's not happening. Don't
Imperial
even
against
start doing this
G2?
to me, dude. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Right.
It's not happening. We can go down our predictions for each group if you want it when we get to it. But I will say this event is so important because this is the last event for VRS where you can get the points, right? That's going to affect your invites for the major. So for Na'Vi, my favorite team, this is not maybe a must win, but it's got to be like a semi-finals, grand final. Every event should be a must win for a team like them. But right now, if the invites were given out today on the 18th of March, Navi would not be in stage 3 deep into the major. They would have to fight from stage 2, and that can get scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they need to do very well here. And there's a lot of competition all above them and around them that are fighting for spots here. We got Spirit, G2, Mongols, Vitality, FaZe, Navi, Eternal Fire, Mouse, Falcons, Liquid, Furia, BP, Astralis, M80, Imperial, and then the Huns Esports. Now, obviously, the Huns, they actually Bartak, who is Bartak, is Bartak Mazinho's little or older brother? He used to play on Mongols.
Oh, I have no
Let's
idea
just
about
check.
that.
I'm checking the name. I think it was his brother used to play for the team. Yeah, it's his brother.
Oh, really?
So Mazinho replaced his brother on the Mongols, and Bartek's still playing, but he's playing for the Huns. And obviously, the Huns were not supposed to be here. They replaced that Atox team that got banned from all VRS things for match fixing. So
Unlucky.
don't match fix. People are still not learned that, obviously, but yeah, they come in as the last replacement, I would say.
But
Yeah, Atox is the one that replaced us.
I mean,
Correct.
this tournament is essentially the fighting. So the weird thing is like, it's not really spirit or vitality we are looking at when we go into this
No, they
tournament.
don't. They don't care. They want to win it, but they
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't affect their major.
what's interesting is obviously we have Navi, FaZe, G2, Eternal Fire, and Falcons are the ones that are within a very, very close amount of
So
points.
close.
So basically, these, like between Navi, Eternal
Hmm.
Fire, G2 FaZe, and Falcons, they are fighting for 2 spots directly to stage 3 of the major, if I'm saying this correctly.
Yeah, that's correct.
So any placement above, if you're the last one placing above the rest of them, you're essentially
Yep.
securing yourself a stage 3. So you only need like, if you're FaZe, you're going into a playoff, and G2 Falcons Eternal Fire haven't made it to the playoff,
Oh, you're dreaming. Yeah, it's
then you're
perfect.
you're you're stage 3 of the major. So it has huge implications on the outcome of, obviously, eh, skipping the most stressful part of the major for any team. It doesn't matter if you're
Yep.
ranked number 1 into the world. If you go into those lower stages at the major, you're shitting your pants.
Yep.
It's
And but
so
by the way,
important.
so right now for stage 3, Vitality, Eternal Fire, Spirit, Falcons, Mouse, Mongols, FaZe, Liquid, they would be in. And then stage 2 would be Navi, Pain, G2, Furia, Astralis, MIBR, 3D Max, Wildcard. And Navi and G2, this event is the one that they need to push forward to try and get above your Falcons, Eternal Fire, FaZe, Mouse. That's
Yeah.
the one you have to aim for. And for Navi, I think it's possible. For G2, I'm not too sure about their chances with it. When you look at the groups, you've got G2 and Navi in the same group, and you've got Vitality and Spirit in the same group. It's wild. It's
Yeah.
absolutely wild.
It is wild, and it is. We haven't seen FaZe, but last tournament they were kind of disappointing. Uh,
Hmm.
and we'll see if them being home, relocating Elish, I think.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
been moving to Europe.
yeah, so maybe he's a little bit more settled in, and they can get some better practice without him just being on the road all the time. So
Yeah, he was living with Carragher at
hopefully,
one point.
yeah. So I hope, I was always talking about FaZe. It looks like they are 10 5-10% off their usual individual skill level, and it kind of
Yeah,
made them look a lot worse in situations, because when you're getting to that point, uh in a game this tough with this competition, that's going to make or break your whole, team,
massively.
essentially, and you're going to look terrible. So I hope they actually have stepped that up. They've had a few weeks that usually, if I know Kerrigan, he'll probably have cooked something up. So it's going to be
Yep.
interesting to see FaZe again, if they bounce back and kind of find their flow with the leash.
and we kept talking about it. It's such a big change for them, but this is at least this time at least should have given them hope of being able to do it. Remember, it's only 6 teams that'll make it through to the playoffs as well. So, yeah, double elimination format. GSL, we're not doing Swiss here. Top 3 teams from each group advance to the playoffs, which is going to give us our 6 in for the eliminations, or sorry, the single elimination stage when it comes to the playoffs.
Yep.
Let me just look at, so playoffs will be, so first teams who go first in Group A and B, they go straight through to semis. Then the others fight out in the quarters and a grand final on Sunday, which is going to be best of 5. Always good. Now, let's make some predictions on this, Devilwalk.
Okay.
First, what I want to do, right, is we're going to go through each game.
All right.
And just give our predictions on each game of the opening games we've got here.
Which group are we starting with?
Well, A makes sense, right? Unless you want to start with B.
Okay, let's go.
We're just going to theory craft now. So, yeah, Spirit obviously over the Huns. Yeah, no real mistakes there. Mao's taking on Falcons. I'm still going to give it to Mao's despite what, like, it's not even, it's going to be in a studio environment again. It's going to be nice and chill. Mao's have been looking great. We've been talking positively about them.
Yep. I'll
Vitality versus Astralis. I'm sorry, but it's Vitality. Obviously. Yeah. Now, FaZe versus VP.
This is a tricky one.
Exactly. This is a VP that we've not seen in action. Yeah. When did we last see VP in action? Was it Cluj?
But dude, if you look at Group A, FaZe.
You see how tough it is?
Oh my god!
You see how tough it is? You see, and only 3 teams are making it.
Oh my
we'll
god!
Come afterwards. Let's finish our opening games, and then we'll come on to looking at who we think will make through to playoffs. So, FaZe VP. VP's not been in action, and neither has FaZe, and they're playing against each other. So
I'll take FaZe. I'll take FaZe.
You're taking FaZe?
Yeah.
I would love to say I take FaZe. I've just got a feeling, it's my personal hunch, that I feel like VP is going to come in and they'll get that one, but then lose the Vitality in the next game anyway. They'll just
both of them will lose against Vitality in the next game anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll be like FaZe will be have to fight their lower bracket run the whole way through. All right, so that was not too hard, right? We pretty much agreed the whole way. Group B, G2 versus Imperial. Now, I think G2 are lucky here, right, with who they get to go up against. I like Try and I like Decency. They're very good. Vinny's actually proven himself to be a capable leader, but we don't see them enough. Like Imperial female getting invites over them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Over the main Imperial squad before. So I'm sorry, G2 should just clean up in that one. Eternal Fire Liquid, I have no idea. Oh, wait, did you agree on the G2 one? You with me on this?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
G2, sorry, Eternal Fire Liquid then? I have no idea. They played each other at Pro League. Liquid won, but I'm worried about Eternal Fire because more events they attend. I think this team can do very well, but it's getting worse, you know? They can make playoffs, then they fumble. They have some games which look shaky. They lost to Tyloo before as well. I want to say Eternal Fire, but I like Liquid have the ability to do it. They've done it before. They did it just at EPL. But do I just sit on that, or do I just believe that like Eternal Fire just get fired up again?
I think an opening game for Eternal Fire should win. Major will be working overnight, a week straight.
As always, waking up early morning.
Yeah.
I guess leaving EPL early is probably a good thing for them.
I don't think they've struggled any opening games, have they?
Got no idea. They struggled. Yeah, they lost to Tyloo.
Was that opening game?
Or was it 3D Max? No, it might have been 3D Max they played first, Tyloo. I know Tyloo beat 3D Max and they beat Eternal Fire.
Wait. Okay, they did lose the opening game against 3D Max.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So I still say Eternal Fire, but it's reluctantly.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll believe in Eternal Fire. I think they should. They should have the caliber to do it, but Liquid is a team that's going to be able to challenge them. EPL result was close, but
Liquid they looked better and better while Eternal Fire has kind of dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, they're trading positions like that. Mongols M80. Mongols.
Mongols.
Yeah. Navi Furia. Navi.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
I think
And like,
if Navi fumbled this, then
oh, bro, don't. I don't even want to think about this. Then they get to play Mongols again potentially on a rematch. That'd be cool. I'm down. See, this is already exciting games coming into it, right? This is more exciting than what we got on Pro League. So now, mate, though, we need to predict our 3 teams going through from each group.
okay, but just one thing. Isn't Group A a lot stronger than Group B?
Yes. Yes. By far. And it also seems to benefit Navi and G2, who are currently in that cutoff where they would be in stage 2. Because, like, I feel like Navi and G2 should cruise through and make it out of Group B.
Yeah. Well,
okay, because Group A is harder. We'll start with Group B this time. The 3 teams that are going to be making it through from Group B for me, is going to be Mongols, probably in first or second place, Navi in first or second place, and then G2 in third place. So Eternal Fire wouldn't make playoffs, which they have been doing consistently. Do you think Eternal Fire can beat G2 and upset it all and take that spot away from them? Do you think Navi will slip up
the
Devilwalk?
thing
Where
is,
are you
like,
going?
on that side of the bracket, if I just look, like, G2 wins. And I don't think it matters who wins of Eternal Fire and Liquid. I think both of them has a chance to beat G2 at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think...
But you could say that about Na'Vi. Like, Mongols will beat M80, and then they play Na'Vi, and Mongols could beat Na'Vi again, but Na'Vi will obviously want revenge and hopefully learn from it. These matchups are bangers.
It is a banger. Banger groups. It's tough, though. It's really tough, but...
And this is supposed to be the easier group to predict.
Yeah, I feel bad, but I kind of don't want to predict G2, but I'll join you in on it.
You don't want to? Then say it. Who do you think if it's not G2?
I'll say Eternal Fire.
Okay, I'll take G2, you take Eternal Fire. We'll see how it goes when we come on to the next episode.
Yeah.
Group A, though, mate. Group A. So, Vitality, yeah? Go through, take the semi-final spot.
Anyway.
Yeah?
I mean, Vitality 100%.
The problem I have here is Mouse and Spirit. I think both should make it. Do I think both will? I have no idea. Because...
Wait, how does this look? I want to see how the lower bracket looks. Because this might be important. So, Spirit goes there. Say, Mouse goes and wins against Falcons. Falcons drop here. They drop... So they should be dropping there, and these guys should be dropping there. So they'd be FaZe or Astralis. Okay.
Go on, you can go first then. You can go first. You've done the maths. You've been working it out.
I say Vitality, Spirit. Vitality, Spirit. Oh, the spicy one. And I'll say I think Mouse will be third place for the lower bracket.
Okay, Mouse going in third place.
There was...
But what if Mouse beat Spirit again?
Yeah, this is the weird part, right? Because there is... Yeah, it can go so many ways.
Yep. This is monstrous. All right, so I'm going Vitality first place. And then I think it will be Mouse second place. And then I think somehow, some way, FaZe will take third and Spirit won't make it through.
That's also plausible.
Yep. That's where I'm going with this one. Either way, this is like... These are good games. There's going to be some very exciting Counter-Strike. There's a lot on the line. It means so much for VRS and how this is all working. It's crazy, man. It's very good. I like it a lot.
I mean,
I like it a hell of a lot.
It's like a flip of the coin, that upper semi-final.
Some of it, yeah. Exactly. It's going to be so hard, man. That you have to be absolutely on. And remember, all of these teams are coming off of EPL. So the ones that maybe come out earlier would have been a bit better for them. Vitality's just going to be riding high anyway. They just look unstoppable. So you just... Yeah,
I think the Mouse
Spirit
right
one.
I mean, you brought up that, they Spirit is struggling against Mouse. They're
Yep.
always having close games. It's like 8-7 and head to head. It's like
Yep. And remember, Spirit have, like, they had Cologne last year where they just bombed out. They have these events where they just don't hit the mark, and this could be one of them. It's just a feeling. It's just the feeling I have.
yeah,
But
it's
it'll be a
gonna
lot of fun.
I think honestly, this tournament is gonna be.
Oh,
This is not
it's
like too
everything.
much. It's 10 times more exciting than EPL. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And it's because it's the game before, it's the event before the VRS as well. It just has so much in it every step of the way. I'm like giddy like a child, and then we get to go back to Portugal with this amazing arena. My wife's sister's there. We got a family there, so we get to see hopefully it's gonna be sun. Actually, we looked, the weather in Portugal right now is not great. I don't know what happened, but hopefully there'll be sun. I do dream of seeing some of that. That would be nice because Denmark does not have any sun. That's
Sure.
non-existent over here.
It's
It's a
so much
small bit, but it's not
south.
much. But it's still not. It's still bloody cold. It's not as enjoyable.
Oh,
All
springtime
right,
is coming soon.
fingers crossed. It needs to come sooner. All right, so next thing, another update comes in for VRS. Obviously, this one is more focused on what comes in for the tournament organizers. I don't think there's really too much. We've talked about VRS so much on this, so we don't have to go into massive detail. But they changed the invite requirements for the seedings, wildcasts, and locations specifically. So tier 2 now requires excluding global teams 1 to 12, but otherwise can invite from any region or filtered VRS. And then that obviously would help a lot for this tier 2 scene, but it's still not going to fix a lot of the problems. It's still a big mess. They've increased tier 1 minimum invites, by the way, to 20.
What does that mean?
Well, to 20 teams taking part.
Well, does that mean that every tournament is 24 teams, or what am I missing?
That's what I would guess. I guess they forced it so it can't be 6. Let's have a look. If tournament operator, let me look. This GitHub, by the way, is the hard. This GitHub is the hardest. The tournament must invite 20. Yeah. So before it was the tournament must invite a minimum of 16 rosters by direct VRS invite. Now the tournament must invite a minimum of 20 rosters by direct VRS invite.
Huh.
So it just means bigger events, right?
Means bigger events, but I'm not sure that's
More stages.
always good.
No, true. But I guess they're trying to give more opportunity to get points to climb up on it, right?
Yes.
But obviously, this won't come into effect instantly, right? This all takes some time before it comes into effect anyway.
Yeah. And then they
So we have to wait for that.
some leniency to the deadline.
Oh, change the deadline with just 2 months change. So from 24 months to 22 months. I guess that's positive for tournament organizers. Changed additional information deadline 12 months, 10 months, just in line with that then. Changed locational specific what? From broad region to visa region. Okay. I guess that makes sense.
It's like Europe.
Added requirement that wildcard teams be ranked lower than 12 on the global VRS rank list. We understand why that's coming. We can talk about that, can't we? The whole situation where this hasn't been confirmed yet, but Messi also put it out there. Neo Kai tweeted about it because it came from a Discord. I guess it was a private Discord, so I'm not sure how happy people are that was leaked. Yeah, allegedly is the key word. Thank you, Devilwalk. That's a very good word. We love that word. Allegedly, because we don't know if it's proof, that Liquid accepted the invite for Asia to Blast Rivals, which is in Mexico, right? Is that the one?
Is it in Mexico?
Yes. Yeah, Mexico. Blast Rivals, Mexico. Monterrey in Mexico.
Yeah,
and it's
which
just 8
is
teams
obviously it's so essentially what was said was they would invite Liquid from the Asia so that they could invite Wildcard on the NA.
To clear that up, by the way, to make that clear, people might be thinking, what the hell? How can Liquid have that? JKS is from Australia, Nerds is from Israel, Ultimates from Poland, and Nav and Twister from Canada. So their region is either Americas or Asia. they can choose between it. So this is a loophole within the system of that all anyway. I hope this is something that gets fixed because, like, if you're Liquid and you get that invite, obviously you accept it. There's a lot of money. Yeah, it makes sense, but it's not cool. It's taking away something from
it's not meant, the
a
invites are not
region.
meant to be distributed in that way. I think they're
Yeah,
meant to give, like us, if we would have done that as like Europeans and Americans for all this time, we would not have any Mongols, coming to these
exactly.
big events, showing up and showing how good Asian Counter-Strike could be. So that's kind of like where you kind of gain a little bit frustration if this were to be true, uh,
Yep,
because those regions deserve to, take part in the greatest tournaments of Counter-Strike, you know.
exactly. And this is the thing with this, right? Is I'm just trying to bring up the information I had there. The key wording that I wanted to use here. So, added requirement that wildcards teams be ranked lower than 12 on the global VRS ranking. So that means like a top team like Liquid, who is currently ranked 12, wouldn't be able to accept it. Wildcards should be for a chance to teams to jump up, for newly formed rosters or something like that with good players.
Yeah, they're
It should
basically
be used in a different
closing
way.
the abuse option of it.
Yeah, but that's still, to me, that's still not good enough. Like, let's look at the global VRS ranking now. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing
After that
also
you've
is
got
just
like
like,
Game Legion, Pain, VP. Like it should not be. I reckon it should be after the fucking. It should be if you're not ranked in like the top 24 at least global,
well,
at least, or maybe 20. I don't know. I don't know where the cutoff should be. 16, 12, 12. I'm not happy with 12.
I get why you're not happy with 12, and I
Yeah,
understand it, because
look at it, bro.
it should
Look
be
at this
going to
ranking right
teams that
now.
don't have that many opportunities, essentially.
Because all these teams in 16, right? They're getting opportunities. 12 getting opportunities. Then maybe 20 on or 16 onwards would be the other one.
Yeah,
Would be the better decision on it. But yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with how that's being done. It's not a positive.
I mean, it's a positive that they're closing it to some degree.
We're changing it, yeah, but I mean, it's not positive that this has been abused. It's good that Valve are acting fast and we're getting these updates from it, but
no, but I mean,
it's gonna
imagine
take
a
some time.
scenario where this would be the last tournament before a major. Some teams desperately need some points, and they decide to kind of cut off some teams from gaining points to then invite
Yep.
other people. It's like that could have been
Yeah,
a shitty thing to happen to Counter Strike.
for real. For real. But we'll keep updating people on the VRS and trying to understand it all on there. Next thing is not really to do with our esports news or anything, but this is called CS Legacy. You guys might have seen it. Therefore, we're going to click this link at the same time and watch it together in some way
Why don't you
and
just
hopefully make this work.
click the link, count us down,
Yeah.
do like a classical
Okay.
Discord.
This is good for our editor as well, for Noel to put together. Okay, I'm putting the sound on. I've already watched it anyway, but I'm just going to watch it with all you guys again because this gets me so hyped. Both being Devilwalk started in 1.6. I started, I think, 1.5, but this is incredible. I fucking
The little
love this,
boy
man.
in
All
me
right,
just jumps up.
bro, I'm ready to go back to my old ways. Did you see I was playing 1.6 on stream just a few days ago? I was even playing on some random Romanian public server where you can get points for leveling up and playing it. And I was just playing normal deathmatch. My AK spray, by the way, was still like pretty solid at real long range distance.
Really? It's
I
so
forgot.
hard.
No, bro, it just follows the most basic, easy pattern. It's so easy compared to CSGO and CS2.
Oh, maybe.
I think it's so. I think so. I don't know. My muscle memory still remembers it, but we had some fun. So,
All right.
you got it open?
I got it open. Ready?
I'm counting down. 3, 2, 1, go. Just beautiful, isn't it? Just beautiful. CS Pro mod, by the way, never took off in the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. Oh.
Dude, this is, you're on about the nuke, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, look at it. When you see B-bomb site like that with doors on both sides. 2 vents, doors on both sides. Oh, look. And it's the hut window. People don't know about hut window now, but hut window was legendary. I can't believe how well they've done this.
The good parts are about to come up.
Oh yeah, when he
Russian skipping, or I don't know what it's called in English.
duck walking.
Oh, that's so satisfying
The
to watch.
the rafter jump. The rafter jump is next level.
Yeah.
If you get stuck there though. Here we go, here we go. Boom. That's the shit you have to perfect, man. Oh.
Bunny hopping back to consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, actual bunny hopping you can do.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, I said I was playing 1.6 that Romanian server. I was doing the bunny hopping, but they've got these things enabled where like you can't do it too much. So I built up some speed and then it like stopped me. So source
I think
engine.
that's like an anti-cheat because a lot of like this cheat.
Okay.
Bunny hop around.
Oh, they script it. Yeah. Like, I hope that Valve just keeps this and doesn't fuck it up. Like, don't block them.
I want to see how bad the smoke is though. That's one thing because it's terrible in 1.6.
Yeah, you can see all the way through on 16-bit. Oh, we are so
We're
back.
back to
We're
printing
so
smokes
back.
in the beginning of an official.
But you know, think now, right? Back in these days, we didn't do all these like too crazy lineups or too crazy, like it wasn't as in depth now. Just imagine what we could do if we really geek out on it all and we go next level on it.
One thing is, first, if we want to compare it real quick, you don't have the same potential in 1.6 to do that because the nades kind of
but you might do
down
now
a lot more. You can't just jump through a nade in 1.6 and all of a sudden it goes. You have to be relatively close to the area you are smoking. So in that sense, you can't be as far away when you're pop flashing either, etc., etc. And if you wanted them further, you had to be full running speed if you actually wanted them further, which is obviously not a great idea if you would put that into CS2 right now, hearing everyone step, 50 meters before.
The only thing I'm sad about is it doesn't have a date, but I'm so ready for this. A Sponge replied to them and said about is there 128 tick servers? It's going to be 100 tick servers, but that's still good. It's still a tick server. I'm still happy with that. Some of the notes we got here is that they're looking at options to bring their mod over to Face It, but have yet to make contact, but they are planning to do it in the coming months. That's awesome. They're planning to do their own twist at zombie plague mods. If you never played that, that was fucking super fun. Engine uses Source 1, that was also on the trailer as well. Some of the team is the ones that came over from the CS Pro mod. The maps that will be a part of the early parts are Dust 2, Nuke Train, Prodigy. Oh, do you know how many people probably didn't play Prodigy?
Dude, Prodigy is like classic map. I think people say
the oldest of old
if
school.
people played it now, they probably say it's trash.
Yeah. It was so big.
It's huge, and you have this like I remember like CT spawn. You go in, and there's like this bridge that you have to cross over.
Running across. Yeah.
Oh my god! Imagine going
This is
in
no
CS2 and trying to cross that bridge.
Oh, do you know what? The thing that made me so happy, the crosshairs behave very faithfully to how it did in 1.6. Thank you. How you've seen my massive crosshair in CS2 that I try to replicate my 1.6 one. Like this is really good. Work. This is doesn't hit the same. Doesn't hit the same at all. But this is a great time to be alive because there's probably a lot of people who maybe went back and played 1.6 and they never played it like when we did. And they don't understand this part of the nostalgia. I think them being able to play in a Source 1 engine and experience like that would be crazy, but they will have to deal with a lot of old people like us running around bullying mechanics. Like it's even got the paper thin walls to shoot through, so I'm expecting some ramp to nuke.
It's gonna be a
ramp nuke to spam huts.
A lot of cheating accusations.
Yeah,
like it was like just to paint a scenario. Imagine you go inside nuke, right?
Yep. Go through hut.
You've heard 2 CTs are playing ramp, You have that information. There's 1 yard. There's only 2 inside. You all pop out of hut. All of a sudden, all you hear is your teammates go, and they're just getting spammed from ramp, and everyone just dead.
Yep.
and you
But
don't
you could
even
also
see the
spam
inside
right.
player.
You could also spam before they enter hut from like T lobby. You could also
Yeah.
spam that part where they call it trophy now, but like that radio room area was. So if you just smoke off that and don't allow yourself to be spammed up there, you can just spam through both sides. So even if they try to run back, they're just pinched.
And there was this like trickery,
Oh.
you want to go up ladder as CT
Mhm.
into A side, and T's would just spam where you would come up
Oh,
with
outside,
AWPs.
yeah.
So you would just die. One guy just died entry from an AWP straight from the ladder.
Before the round's even
Yeah.
begun. Like you've
So you have to
actually
like
seen no one.
sometimes you had to like stay in the ladder, wait for the shot, and then you went out
Delay
into A.
timing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we 100% when this comes out, not only will we just play and stream it, but like we'll bring some footage into this because it looks great. They've done a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can try and get some codes or something, find out more information.
I mean, for
But
me, the
yeah,
most
this is
exciting part
epic.
about it is just like 1.6, you could own people in such a way that you just can't with the movement,
No.
Like people who used to be so smooth at jumping ladder to ladder on train, like from heaven on train. Oh my God. Too many
Oh
memories.
yeah, just thinking about that because he's got train listed in there.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to go under trains again.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. We're going to be able to have that heaven to hell at the very top where you've got that hole you can just see over it. Oh my god, connector's going to be fun. The connector from remember, there's no A main as such. It's like that connector to T connector. So T and CT connector facing against each other. Oh, this is going to be so good.
Yep.
Oh, and actual pop dog, which is also spammable.
Yeah,
You can
like
spam
the
pop dog
whole
from
wall
lower
is
B.
spammable. There was a timing. You go back bomb train on all like 1.6 train, and you just shoot
Yep.
on a like a second in the round, and you just like 50% you get a headshot on a T rushing inside.
I used to deagle spam pop dog from lower B.
Yeah,
I'd just be
you can
like,
do that as well.
let's risk this on my deco round. Let's see what can happen.
Oh,
Oh man,
it's gonna be good.
this is gonna be so much fun. But that brings us to the end. I made a big failure. I didn't ask anyone to submit any questions. So I'll just do the reminder that for all of you guys that are wonderfully enjoying the show, whether it's on the multiple podcast platforms we're on, which is pretty much everywhere, so we serve as many people as possible, or if it's on YouTube. If you do have a question, check in the YouTube description down below or the description below, or just on allaboutcs.gg. Join the Discord. There's a Q&A channel. You can ask us any questions and we will answer it every single episode. I'm going to chill and enjoy the rest of my evening before I get ready for Blast starting tomorrow. Devil, what are you going to be doing?
I'll probably hit the hay, and then tomorrow I'll, watch some Counter Strike, maybe play some Marvel Rivals because I've been on the grind.
Yeah, you've been grinding so much of that. Well, let's get a rank update. You're plat 2?
No. I'm no wait. I am I'm plat 2.
Okay. We need a rank update every episode also to see if Devilwalk is multi-talented at multiple games,
I am
much like
very
he is.
multi-talented in multiple games.
What's the other one, Age of Empires 4?
Yeah. I got plat
We're just exposing that you have no life
plat
at this
2 in
point.
Age of Empires. It's probably a bit noobish, but
It's fine. It's acceptable. I got ultra rank in Pokemon Unite. I'm fucking grinding that as well. So, yeah, non-stop gaming, non-stop playing, lots of fun, lots of Counter Strike. But I hope everyone's still enjoying the podcast. We have a lot of fun doing this. We'll catch you on the next episode. That will probably be at the end of Blast Open Lisbon, and I'm gonna aim. I can't make any promises, but as we go into PGL Bucharest, I'll try and get a guest on for the first episode we would have ever had a guest on. So, episode 6, maybe with our first guest. Until then. See you later. Enjoy yourself. Keep owning up in CS, and we'll see you.